everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with my official review for Dragon Ball Super Episode 40. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest episode of Dragon Ball Super. Now, of course, after the epic conclusion of Goku vs. Hit, Goku revealed Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, and I'm not gonna lie, folks, I'm not gonna fucking lie with you. That's pretty much the highlight of 2016 for me. It's not even the end of 2016, but that's the highlight. I mean, that 5 minutes of Goku becoming the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, the music, the fight, the Kamehameha with the time leap, that's the best thing ever in Super history. I'm not denying that. However, does this episode live up to that? Does this episode live up to those last final seconds of that epic, animated, beautiful artwork that was Goku vs. Hit and Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, which pretty much was the most amazing thing in Super history? Does it live up to that? Kinda, not really. However, I will say that this is an amazing episode. It was very fun, very comedic, and in my second watching of the episode, I actually had more appreciation for it than my first viewing. But with that being said, let's get into this episode. Now, first things first, it's very anticlimactic, I think is the biggest thing I can take away from it that's annoying the crap out of me, which is Goku vs. Hit doesn't end off the way that we kind of wanted it to, which is having a definitive answer on who is the better warrior, and of course who actually wins the tournament. Now, of course, in the fight that we lead off, which is Goku versus Hit, this is, I guess you would consider like round 3, if you will, and in this fight, Goku pretty much states to Beerus and Shanpa that he wants the rules of the tournament let go, so he can fight Hit with his full potential, and of course he wants to see Hit's full potential because in the process of these final episodes of the tournament that we've been getting, Goku has come to the realization that because there are restrictions in the tournament, Hit has been holding back because he can't kill. So if he can't kill, then he's been holding back his 100% potential energy that he has not really shown Goku. So Goku wants these restrictions off so he can fight head-on against each other and get to see Hit's actual full energy and full potential and how he can really fight and what have you. So that's pretty much what happens, and of course Beerus and Shanpa decide that's not really something that we want to do. Shanpa wants it because he's a bitch. I mean, I'm just saying, Shanpa is such a big bitch. I wish he got punched in this episode, but we'll get to that in a second. But overall, Goku, once again, being the guy that he is, decides, you know what? He's like, fuck it. He's basically like us in the audience. He's like, fuck it. If I'm not going to fight the way I want to fight in this tournament, then I'm done with it. And he just jumps off and he's like, you know what? One day we'll fight again and hopefully we'll have a definitive answer on this. And they kind of like fists, bro fists, if you will. Fucking awesome. And it's done. Goku jumps off. He forfeits and Hit wins the fight. And when I first saw it, I was very angered by it because at the end of the day, I want to see Goku win, and I also want to see a definitive answer on who's the better fighter, because I feel like when it comes to fights and you have like an equal grounds of like a winner and you don't have like a definitive answer, it just becomes a very douchey thing to do. It's like, just give me a definitive answer. Who's the better fighter? Who's the stronger character? Let me know. I want a definitive winner. I don't really like it's a tie, or it's like, he forfeit, or he didn't live up to the rules or whatever. He kind of broke the rules. Like, that kind of shit bothers me. However, with my second viewing, I will admit it's a little bit more comedic, it's a little bit more fun. It's kind of more or less a throwback to more or less a Dragon Ball instead of a Dragon Ball Z. However, with stuff like this, it feels more appropriate to get more Dragon Ball Z-esque kind of fights. However, I can see why they want to do that kind of stuff, and you can kind of see where Goku's coming with it, and at the end of the day, it also shows the characterization of Goku that, he still is who he is. He's not going to stop being who he is just because he's hanging out with gods and he's training by them and he's like in this intergalactic universal tournament. He's going to be Goku and no one can stop him from being Goku. So I can completely agree what he was doing. However, I still, as a hardcore fan, would have wanted a definitive answer on who won the fight. Is it Goku or Hit? Is there going to be a rematch? I don't know, but we'll see what happens at the end of the day. It was still an interesting fight. However, with my second viewing, I have more of an appreciation for it. But with that being said, the biggest thing that I can take away from it that really bothered me, besides the anticlimactic aspect of it, has to be the animation and artwork. The animation artwork was very sketchy in this episode. I mean, like, last week was sketchy as hell. However, the Super Kaioken Blue stuff really just threw me over, and I was like, I can forgive the shitty animation, because that fucking Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken shit was epic as hell. I don't care what anybody says. If they say anything different, tell them to fuck themselves, because that was awesome. However, this episode really wasn't that amazing when it came to animation artwork. It was very sketchy and kind of like, oh my god, what am I watching? However, I will agree that the story definitely overthrew the animation artwork, so it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it was still interesting and fun, and I still was a little, I guess, bothered by the ending of the fight. However, once again, my second viewing kind of changed that. But with that being said, moving off of that, we kind of come to the final battle, which is Hit versus Monaka. Now, Monaka has been proven to be an amateur. He's basically a tiny buffoon that Beerus has pretty much captured just to use as, I guess, as a scapegoat, as a just as his character that he can use to further Goku and Vegeta's training, and he's just a red herring. And at the end of the day, Monaka fighting Hit is pretty much the definition of a train wreck. It's a fucking train wreck, folks. We know that Monaka versus Hit is not going to end amazingly. It's not going to end pretty. However, I love the fact that it ended the way it did. Spoilers if you haven't seen the episode, but Hit versus Monaka ends up with Monaka winning. And at first, I did not expect that to happen. I felt like Hit was going to stick to his guns and be like, you know what? I came here for the cube. If I don't get the cube, fuck it all. I'm going to kill everybody. However, I love the fact that you got to see how Goku kind of changed Hit. Not through his fighting, not through his improvements, through his time leap technique. He changed him in the way he thinks, and maybe gave him a little bit more honor than maybe he didn't think he could have had. And I love that. And it just goes back to a throwback to the characterization of Goku and how great of a character Goku is, and the way he changes people, even through his idiocy. He can change someone and be like, you know, sometimes it's good to do it this way. Sometimes it's good to be a good person instead of being an asshole douchebag. So I like the change and how Hit kind of realistically threw the fight against Monaka. And it was such a beautiful, sweet moment, because let's face it, Monaka, he would have got murked, he would have got whacked, and it would have been the biggest train wreck in Dragon Ball Super history, even worse than the Goku punching Krillin in the face kind of shit. It was just so sad and depressing if that happened to Monaka, because let's face it, Monaka, he's a shalub, he's a yutz, he's gonna get annihilated, but you don't want to see it. He's a little tiny guy, he's a little tiny pink guy with funny ears, and he has nipples. I don't want to fucking see him get hurt. I don't want to see him get hurt, so the fact that he came in like a freaking stupid and he just got murked would have been so sad. So the fact that Hit like kind of was like, you know what, Goku, you forfeited, it wasn't a fair thing, you know what, out of respect, I'm gonna throw this fight for you guys. And he did that, and it was such a sweet moment, and it was great to see Monaka's reaction. It was hilarious. Everybody's reaction in this fight is hilarious as it stands, especially Beerus, because he knew he kind of fucked up. However, everything is concluded with Universe 7 winning. Team Beerus is the definitive winners of the Universe 6 tournament. And at the end of the day, everything gets thrown out the window, folks. Everything gets thrown out the window for the most epic conclusion to this episode, which, at the end of the day, I still don't know if it's a good or bad thing. And that is, of course, the incorporation of new characters. Now, before we get into that, Shanpa. Shanpa is such a big bitch. I'm going to state it right now, and that will be my definitive answer. Shanpa is such a big bitch. I wanted him to get bitch slapped so hard in this fucking episode, and it never fucking happened. Tell me why. Some person who's a fan of Dragon Ball Super, please tell me why Shanpa didn't get bitch slapped the way he deserved. Because Shanpa was such a douchebag asshole throughout this episode, even in the final, especially in the final moments where he's like, you know what, I lost, you made me lose, I'm killing all of you. It pissed, like, I wanted Goku, and I know he couldn't because Beerus was also being a little bitch. He was like, no, that's his thing, don't interfere, you can't interfere with a god's work, a god of destruction's work and what have you. And Vados is like, sitting there like a freaking asshole. And I just wanted to see Champa just get murked. I just wanted Goku to like instant transmission over there, Super Kaioken blew that ass, and fuck his ass up. I wanted that shit to happen so bad in this episode, and it didn't happen, and I want it to happen. If that doesn't happen in the next like 5 episodes, I'm suing Toei Animation, because Champa, he was an interesting integrated character in Dragon Ball Super, especially for this arc, but he became such a little whiny bitch that I just wanted to see him punched in the fucking face. His fat face. I wanted to see him get punched, but it never happened, and of course, he never inevitably killed his teammates, because Vados and Whis and Beerus and Champa discover that the Lord of Lords, the God or King or Xeno or whatever the fuck you want to call him, the King of everything, is sitting right there, his little ass, and his 2 merchant asshole assassin looking dudes servants just hanging out with him, just sitting there like, hey, what's up? You know, Spider-Man style. It's like, what the fuck just happened? So, of course, at the end of the day, this episode ends off with a bang. We got Universe 7 winning, Goku forfeits, Monaka beats Hit, Champa's a little bitch, and of course we got the introduction of new characters, the King of Kings. I wonder how many gods there are in this fucking universe. I want to know that, because I get the feeling every time we get a new saga, Toriyama creates a new god who has a larger hierarchy and is, you know, way higher than the pay grade of the previous god that we got. I feel like that happens way too much on this show, and it's kind of annoying me. And at the end of the day, I do think it's interesting that we got these new characters, and it's going to be interesting like what their actual role is and where they come from and what they do and if they're even powerful and what have you, and how they like scare Beerus and Champa, who are already super powerful and gods of destruction. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like it was the best move to end the episode with them being introduced. I still wish Champa should have got his ass whooped, but that is for another time. But at the end of the day, as it stands, yeah, those characters being introduced, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to, you know, fill in the gaps with this universe stuff. But as it stands, it was very interesting. I'll definitely say that. It was very interesting to see these new characters be introduced. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much everything that's happened in this episode. It was very wacky, crazy, super fun, super annoying, but still a good episode. So, at the end of the day, my final verdict for Dragon Ball Super Episode 40 has to be a solid, I guess, 8.5 out of 10. It was a good episode. I'm not going to lie. It was a good episode. Certain things ended off in a way that I personally wouldn't want them to do. I really wanted Goku to win against Hit. I do appreciate the way it ended. My second viewing, Monaka versus Hit was very sweet and lighthearted, and I love that. Beerus and Champa's interactions was very annoying. The animation artwork was very inconsistent, which really annoys me. Once again, what's new? And of course, Champa as a character, I really hope one of these sagas that are eventually coming, once we're at the seeing as how we're pretty much at the end of this arc, I really hope Goku fights him, or at least somebody gets to fight him, and we beat that fucker down, because I'm sick of seeing Champa, and I'm sick of seeing Vados. I'm just saying, I know people love them, but at this point in time, hence this episode, I want them just to die. I just want them to get killed for reasons unknown. Just die. That's all I really want. But with that being said, the episode itself was interesting, it was fun, we got some new characters, but as it stands, it wasn't as amazing as what I wanted this tournament to end off on. However, it's a good throwback to Toriyama comedy. So, as it stands, it's a good episode. Not a perfect episode, but it's fun and entertaining, and I like it. It's alright. But with that being said, that's pretty much been my review for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, there's a lot of interesting stuff going to happen in Dragon Ball Super. Of course, next week we got some... we got these new characters to interact with to see what they're all about, and of course the Dragon Ball Super, the Super Dragon Balls rather, Dragon being unleashed, which we kind of got a glimpse of, so very interesting stuff there. And of course, at the end of the day, we got a whole bunch of new arcs, sagas, and episodes to look forward to in Dragon Ball Super. Now we're done with the first original one, which is the Champa Universe 6 stuff, and I'm just excited. I'm freaking psyched. I'm stoked. I can't wait to see that. There's a lot of rumors and speculations out there. Are we going to see future Trunks? Are we going to see the Super Saiyan Whites? Are we going to see the King Vegeta of Universe 6? Are we going to see, Arali again? There's a lot of shit that's coming up, and I can't wait to see it. But let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Josh12.